Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hard Nine podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today, as you do every day that we are on here. We greatly appreciate you. You can find us on all of our socials that Caleb has listed right there. And then if you would hit that subscribe button on YouTube, we would greatly appreciate it. Today is August 10th. Maui is on fire. It's hot as fuck everywhere in the country. Couldn't get pre-sale tickets to Taylor Swift. All of us tried. Couldn't get one of those. There's 3 shows right here in my home city. Couldn't do that. Taylor Motter is still on this roster. Luken Baker has 32 home runs in Memphis, and the Cardinals are 10 and a half games out, last place in the NL Central. Which one of these did you have in your 2023 bingo, summer of 2023 bingo card?
I could have guaranteed that it would have been hot and that Taylor Swift wasn't something we'd be able to acquire, the tickets.
What about run your mouth and get hit right square in the face, but with a chair?
What are you talking about?
Did you not see the video of the boat fight that is everywhere in the
world?
Oh,
no. I haven't.
It'll make your day. It's the greatest thing you've ever seen. It is the epitome of fuck around and find out. And some lady did. So you need to watch.
Well, that happens. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't say anything about it. What I didn't have in my bingo card was Taylor Motter being a Cardinal. Was the Cardinals being what are they, 14 or 15 under right now?
I don't know. I didn't even
want to look cares, at the I guess.
Who cares, right?
But I mean, it's just depressing. This season's been really sad, honestly. What are they? They are 15 games under 500, 50 and 65.
I'm going to ask you, and you know where I was, because starting in March and April, I've been on the Luken Baker train all along. You hate him. Like, let's be honest.
You don't say that. I don't hate him. No, I don't think he's as good as everyone
does. That you did not care at all about Luken Baker. So let's just
that's not fair. I don't think should have any plan for St. Louis.
Okay,
St. Louis
here's
Cardinals.
what I want to say. There is literally zero reason why he's not on this roster getting every day.
Who's he hitting over?
DHing.
Over who?
Anyone.
No. He's not hitting over Burleson. He's not hitting over Newbar. He's not hitting over Goldschmidt. He's not hitting over Gorman, Contreras. He's not hitting over Arenado. He's not hitting over Edmund. He's not hitting over.
I disagree.
Who's he hitting over? O'Neill. He's not hitting over Carlson.
O'Neill's hurt again. No. Shocker. O'Neill's hurt again.
But okay. Either way, like, he's not hitting over any of those guys I just named.
But the funny thing is why? Like, against a lefty, you can have Luken Baker. He's better option than Alec Burleson. There's no doubt about it. Like, you can get
against a lefty, yeah.
And there's zero reason, like, you can't tell me this team is so good, because we just went through, they're in last place. They're 10 and a half out. They're 15 games under 500. You can't tell me this team is so good that they can't find a spot for a guy who has 32 jacks at AAA to at least give him some run in the upcoming. Look, I don't even honestly
Here's
care
my thing,
how many
Dad.
bats Goldie gets the next month and a half. I do not care. Let's see what we have.
I do.
Baker. I don't.
I care. He needs to figure out whatever's going on with him. So I do care. Because if he's going to be like this next year, then there's team's not going anywhere. But we'll get to that in a second. I don't have anything against Luken Baker. He has no spot on this team. I don't want an everyday DH in this team next year. That limits what you can do as a team. He's not playing first base over Goldie. He can't play anywhere else. The best thing for Luken Baker is for him to get traded.
That's zero argument there.
So I'm not against him, the person. I don't think he has a future with the Cardinals, which then makes me have zero desire to see what he looks like at the big leagues.
See, I disagree with almost everything you just said there, and that's fine.
But why? What's he going to be for you?
What if he is your everyday DH? Like, you do have a spot for that. You're going to.
I don't want an everyday DH.
You're going to have to make a trade in the offseason. All right, you're going to have to. That's going to eliminate at least two of the guys that are on your current list right now, maybe more.
Right.
All right,
those are outfielders, probably.
I understand that, but you can still find a way at DH and to give Goldie days off at first base. You can find a way to utilize him if you can see, at least for a month and a half. That's about what's left. What he might be able to do. They brought him up. They never gave him a shot, like, at all. Yeah. And I understand that they didn't have to. They were still. I get that. But at this point, here's the thing: Mason Wynn, his butt hurts, so he's got a sore butt right now.
He's got a glute strain. Don't minimize his injury.
So hopefully he'll be up soon. Like, also. But let's go ahead and let's see, because I'm so tired of saying he doesn't have a place on this team. We said the same thing.
When Mason Wynn comes up,
Rosarina, we said the same thing with him. Let's just see.
Come on. When Mason Wynn comes up, that probably maybe September 1st. I don't know what day they're looking at. And now Tommy Edman needs to keep playing, so he's going to play second maybe. Would you rather Luke and Baker get at bats versus lefties or Gorman?
Well, I think Gorman's your second baseman. You put him there every day. I don't care to see Tommy Edman at second base. So
Okay, would you rather see Tommy Edman and Gorman in the lineup or Baker over one of them?
Baker over, give me Luke and Baker over Tommy
No,
Edman every
dude.
day. Yes,
Tommy Edman has a future
you're
with this
not
team.
trying to win games right now.
It doesn't
You're
matter.
trying
You're
to
still
see
trying
what
to
you
figure out
have
what
for the future.
Yeah, and he's not part of your future.
You don't know that.
Yes,
I'm
I
so-
know
see,
if he was,
this-
he'd be here.
This organization has had a major
True.
problem. You and I've talked about it in the last 12 years of making decisions on who belongs here and who doesn't. And it seems like every time they say he doesn't belong, they get rid of him and he does belong on a major league roster. All right. So if nothing else, listen, at bare minimum, bring him up here, see what he's got, because if he does come up and he does have a Luke Voigt type month, then you can trade him for a piece and his value goes up. Leaving him at
That's not
AAA
gonna
does
trick anybody,
absolutely
Dad.
nothing. It does nothing.
That's not going to trick anyone if he comes up and he's good for a month.
It's not going to hurt.
Like, it didn't trick anyone into thinking Frank Schwindel was good or Joey Meneses was an all-star
But
like
he was.
last 2
Joey
years.
Meneses was an all-star.
No, he wasn't.
Wasn't he last year? I think he was.
He didn't come up until like after the All-Star break, after Soto was gone.
Okay.
So that my point is, like, I'm not against Luke and Baker, but there are a lot of guys I want to see what they have, and he's not at the top of that list.
I just disagree with you, and
He's
that's
limited,
fine.
Dad. That's fine. Like, there, you can be Luke Voigt, fine, but Luke Voigt's smashing at AAA right now too. He doesn't have a job.
I
He's a
understand.
first
I don't
baseman.
think
They
that
can
you
only that. Like,
you took what I said and you made me compare him to Luke Voigt. That's not what
no,
I was
I'm not. I'm saying that's a good comparison. And guess what the Cardinals did? They traded him for a great reliever, and it was a massive win of a deal.
agreed.
Why Luke and Baker's having a great year, but people act like this guy's a top prospect. He's not.
That doesn't okay. We also have to stop acting like top prospects are the only ones we can give an opportunity to. We've seen that fail here multiple times.
Well, that's not true because Lars Nootbaar and Brendan Donovan weren't top prospects. They both
I
succeeded.
get it. I'm simply saying you can find a place for him. You don't have to have Goldie in the lineup every day. You don't. You
Right,
can
you can
find
bring
a
him
way to
up.
get
I'm
him
okay
a
with
lot of
that.
at bats between now and the end of the season.
I'm okay with that, but the fact that this is the guy we're leading off the show with, I don't think he's the most pressing guy to talk about here. He's having a great season at AAA, like hundreds and hundreds of guys who've never done anything MLB have done before. I'm not saying he won't do anything in MLB, but the fact that he's become a hot button issue, I don't understand it. Before the year, he's a Rule 5 guy. He's a Rule 5 guy. Before the year, he was probably not going to be in this organization next year.
But
and
that's
credit
what
to
we
him
get.
for being great
This
year.
Yes,
but it's also
agreed.
one great year.
That Adolis, you're talking about Adolis Garcia, a guy that we didn't give an opportunity to.
You're also
because
talking about
we didn't
Moises
think we had a
Gomez.
spot for him.
Moises Gomez was great last year. He's been awful this year.
I agree, but Luke and Baker hasn't been terrible this year.
Right.
That's all I'm
He was
saying.
terrible the
That's
year
enough.
before
We
that.
can move on. I needed to talk about that because I want to see him get an opportunity in the lineup, an actual real shot to get some at bats at the major league level. Because in my opinion, on a team that's fucking absolutely this god dog shit awful, he has earned it. That's all I'm saying. He's earned it way more than some of these guys on this roster currently.
Who? Who's that's actually playing? Who?
Taylor Motter should not
That's
be
actually playing? Who?
You can give him a bet. You have plenty of
Who?
room. Tyler O'Neill.
No. When did Luke and Baker finish 8th in MVP voting? Did I miss
That was
that?
2 years ago, bro. Move on.
He didn't earn it more than Tyler O'Neill.
He can't play.
How many
He's
Gold
hurt
Gloves does Luke and
all the
Baker
time.
have? How many times has Luke and Baker played left field in his life?
My point is, you can find a way to
Your
give him
point
at
was
bats.
stupid.
First of all, they found a way to give all kinds of guys at bats this year, and you know it. You
They
can
had him
find
at
a way
bats
to
and
give
didn't
him
make
at
the most
bats.
of them when they did.
All right, we can move on from Luke and Baker now. Or Mason Wynn has a glute strain. Would love to see him up here in September. I don't know what they're going to do with him if they're going to wait on that now. Hopefully he's okay. Have you heard anything? Like, is it day to day? Okay,
I haven't heard anything. He's on the IL, which is good.
I tried to look.
If there's any issue at all, don't play him.
I tried to look. I agree.
Like, if there's any concern, like even the smallest 0.001% concern, like Oppenheimer, if you've seen Oppenheimer, if there's an almost zero chance and not zero, do not play him.
By the way, incredible movie. No spoilers. I think everyone knows how it ends, but great movie. Fast 3 hours. Like, that's what I need. I like that time period. Because if it's an epic movie, I want to be intrigued the entire time. I didn't get him to go pee once.
I just love actor-driven movies.
Yeah. He was great.
All of them are great. Robert Downey Jr. was fantastic. Okay, we can move on though.
Josh Peck stole the show.
He pressed a button once. He did do that. Can't take that away from him.
Spoiler.
Yeah, okay. The bomb dropped.
The guy who
Spoiler
played
alert.
Einstein was the best. That might have
Yeah,
been
no,
Einstein.
he was so endearing. He was so endearing.
It might
All
have
right,
been
let's
him.
move on. Let's move on from that.
All right, let's talk about a
There's a lot
couple
of stuff to
bright
talk
spots.
about. We've
You wanna
gone in
talk-
here on Luken Baker and Oppenheimer.
you want to that? Hey, by the way, sums up the 2023 Cardinal season. Oppenheimer, you can make a lot of correlations between Oppenheimer and this 2023 season.
All right, let's move on. I don't know where that's going, but I know it's not good for us if we keep going.
Let's talk about the good. Steven Matz, and I know this is a guy that you kind of wanted to get into, and I'll be honest, I was wrong, but now I'm sort of right. At the beginning of the season, I said I thought Steven Matz was going to have a bounce back year, and I thought he would be a huge addition to this team, to this rotation, and would play a major part in what I believed would be a playoff team. That was all about 95% wrong. So I will admit that. However, it is nice to see him pitch well, and he looks like the Steven Matz that we have seen at times in the past, and the reason why the Cardinals did give him a 4-year contract.
Would it surprise you if I told you he has a better ERA than Spencer Strider for the year?
It wouldn't, only because I know that Strider has really been struggling. But
did Strider get removed from the rotation for
no.
Steven Matz did.
Can we not make the argument that it was the right move to move Steven Matz out of the rotation for a little bit? Like that was the right move.
It was the right
Yeah,
move.
okay,
I'm saying
okay.
that would surprise me because Spencer Strider's leading the league in strikeouts. Steven Matz had to get taken out of the rotation. But yeah, Steven Matz has been great. He's a 3.9 ERA on the year now, which, I mean, if you pencil him in as I want to say pencil him in as your number 4 next year. I mean, 5 next year, but we all know he's going to be penciled as a number 4 because they're going to give the 5 spot to Libertor or Graceffo or whoever earns it. But he's been great. And I think the key for him is he just needs to be able to locate his pitches. Like we've talked about this. If he can locate his pitches, they're hard to hit. He has good stuff. And they found something. And I don't know. Sorry, I had something in my eye. I don't know how long this continues, but I know that this is one of the things we talked about. We needed to see him establish himself again because they need him in their rotation next year. They can't go into the offseason with 4 spots uncertain. So
Agreed.
It's huge for the team next year. Even if you don't believe in Steven Matz, which I believe that he's a good pitcher, but I don't always believe that he's going to do his best, if that makes sense. I think he'll try his best, but for some reason, it seems like his stuff doesn't always translate. I do hope that having this his first bit of success really with the Cardinals gives him some confidence going into the offseason to build on it and maybe even outperform what we think next year, but at the very least be a reliable back-end starter. And that's what they need.
That's exactly what they need. And yeah, I think
Cheap
I'm
one,
with you.
too.
I think I'm with you that they go after 2 starters, whether that's via free agency, via trade, probably one of both. That is sort of what I believe is going to happen. That means nothing. That's just my assumption of what will happen. There's room for this team to go get 3, if we're going to be honest. Like there is, because here's the thing.
I want it.
Within the let me finish and then I'll get your take on that. Over the last, since really 2016, we have found ourselves come May in need of pitching. And those guys who we have given opportunities to, the Dakota Hudsons, the Jack Flaherty's, the Jake Woodfords, not Jack Flaherty, sorry, Jake Woodford, Matthew Libertor, fill in the blank, Palante, fill in the blanks, right? Have not really stepped up for us. Like you see these teams around the league that are winning, those guys like the Rays keep losing pitchers and they keep calling them up and somebody finds their way.
That's a different story.
It is, but we've yet to find a guy who's like stepped up and stepped in and we can say that's our guy for next year. So I don't think it's bad thing to say that if Michaelis is your 4 and Matz is your 5 going into next year, or even if you were to sign a 4 and you want Michaelis to be your 3, that gives you 5 legitimate starters. And that allows you with guys like Graceffo, McGreevy, and Libertor to do what this team has done in the past and to do what other winning teams do. If you need them in the bullpen, you can. If not, they're at AAA ready to go. And I just don't think that you can go in with the idea that, oh, we have 6 guys for 5 spots. No, we need 10 guys for 5 spots. And if all 5 of your first 5 are proven major league starters, I think that you're in a way better spot than 4 and a hope. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. My counter to everything you just said basically would be that this is what they addressed at the trade deadline. They went and they got 4 guys that are going to be ready to take an opportunity when someone gets hurt next year. Like that's what they did. That's what they addressed. So maybe none of those guys are going to be great, but I mean, they now have numbers to at least throw at the wall, which they didn't have before. So they at least have numbers now. And generally, I agree, but I also think at some point you got to give these guys opportunities. Like you can't keep like who are you going to go out and get? I guess here would be the thing: if you went out and you signed two guys, let's say you signed, I'm just going to throw names out there, Nola and you signed Sonny Gray, right? So those are your Sonny Gray and Michaelis are both 3-ish pitchers, probably. Sonny
Right.
Gray maybe a little better, and then you go and you trade for Clark Schmidt. If that was your offseason, and now you have that 5, that's a good offseason. I wouldn't be
Yes.
against that. I would not sign a 4 or 5.
No,
they're gonna go
but
for
I meant a
$15
middle of the
million.
rotation guy, another middle of the
But that's
rotation.
what, like, look at what Jamison Tyone and Taijuan Walker signed for. I'm not signing one of them. No way. I don't want
But
them on my
also,
team, and they're too
conversely,
expensive.
look at what Evaldi signed for. Like his deal wasn't outrageous.
Eovaldi had a track record of being a number 1 on a postseason team.
I know, but I'm saying that his contract wasn't outrageous. That's my point. Like,
right, but a lot of that has. And here's another thing that people aren't really talking about. The Cardinals are going to have an early draft pick this year.
they are.
All these free agent pitchers, guess what they're going to have attached to them? A qualifying offer.
Yeah.
So that's going to make Giolito interesting because he's not going to have one attached because he just got traded. It's going to make the pitchers from Japan interesting. And those are the guys, if I'm the Cardinals, those are the guys I'm going after, not Giolito, but the guys from Japan are who I'm going after because I'm not losing that second round draft pick for Sonny Gray. I'm not doing
Clarify this for not just me, but for everyone watching or listening right now. Once you're traded at the deadline, like a Flaherty and a Montgomery, the QOs are removed. That is correct, right?
Yes.
I wanted to hit on that last time with Kareem. And I forgot about it because that was something that was always, I guess I never fully understood that offer or that deal right there.
The qualifying offer was put in place originally because there were teams, small market teams like, let's just say Baltimore. They were losing their star players to other teams in free agency and getting nothing back. And they're like,
Correct.
we can't compete with these teams.
Get it. Yep.
So they're getting nothing back from their homegrown talent that's leaving. So now they're giving them a draft pick when they leave. So I think the way it is, if you trade that guy, he's no longer your homegrown guy. Then you can't really say, I'm not getting anything back for him because you went out and acquired him and you didn't really, it's not your homegrown guy. So it's a different situation. That's why they did it.
Another nice thing that I'd like, another high point that I want to talk about, Wilson Contreras, under the radar, has been nails.
It's been awesome.
Heading into the Tampa Bay series, led the major league in average and OBP. Was 7th in slugging, 2nd in OPS since July 1st. That's a good sample size. That's not 2 weeks. Heading into the Tampa series. Yeah.
And he had a homer in the series too.
Correct. So, like I said, I didn't update those stats.
Yeah, I don't know.
Heading into this series, and that's 2 games with a home run. I mean, this is what you signed him for. This is what you signed him. The defense is going to have to be a little bit better. But here's the other thing, Kay.
A lot better.
Andrew Knizner has been also phenomenal in the last 30 days. All of this leads me to one question. What do you do with catching in the offseason? If you're the Cardinal, again, you always wear the Cardinal toque there. But if you had to wear another hat,
what's that mean?
Well, Canadian, bro. It's almost hockey season.
I'm not Canadian. I don't speak Canadian. Okay, what are you saying?
Anyway, if you were going into the season, you've got Herrera waiting in the wings. Here's the thing that we know: Andrew Knizner.
Are you asking me or are you answering?
Yeah, I got a lot of things. Andrew, you know how my mind is. Andrew Knizner hit all the way through the minor leagues. Now he's hitting at the big league level. Like what do you do? What is your decision on the catching?
Ivan Herrera and Wilson Contreras are splitting time next year.
Okay.
60-40 Wilson. That's what I would do.
Okay.
And I like Andrew Knizner. If you love him, trade him or DFA him or don't pay his ARB contract. Like, I don't have anything against him, and he's been good, but you might give him some value if you want to ship him off somewhere. Like, that's fine. But at some point, you're going to have to stop with this, oh, well, he's good for the clubhouse bullshit because that's not getting you anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what gets you somewhere? Good players on your team.
Yeah, let's be honest. If you can't get rid of Andrew Knizner because you're worried about what the clubhouse is going to happen,
like ridiculous.
Then you got bigger problems in the clubhouse.
Another thing that I want to talk about when it comes to catching, a thing I think could be very beneficial for this entire organization, moving on from the legend that is Yadier Molina and fully saying, all right, we're done. Like, Yadi, we love you. You were great here. We're moving on. Wilson / Yvonne are our catchers. We know that we're not going to get the same production out of our catcher defensively. We're moving on from that era of Cardinal baseball. As great as it was, it's time to move on. Getting all new pitchers in here.
Yeah.
Guys that aren't used to having Yadier Molina. I love Jack Flaherty. I like Montgomery a lot. All these guys, I love Wayno. They were all used to having Yadi doing all of their work for them. And that's not a shot against them. That's just how great Yadi was and how prepared he was every day. He did, when people talked about Yadi doing something that people who don't play with him or pitch to him couldn't even comprehend how much work the guy puts in. I think we're seeing that to be true this year. That he was doing stuff that Wilson Contreras shouldn't be asked to do. He's not Yadi. I think it's going to be big when like Miles will be here. Matt hasn't been here long, but now you're getting 3 new guys in here that aren't used to Yadi doing everything. You're getting a whole new bullpen almost, other than Hells and Gio and a couple other guys. I think that's big for this team. I think it's good for Dusty Blake. He gets to kind of put his fingerprints now on the rotation. I as much as I love Yadi and I'm glad he has this legacy here, I do think there is something to moving on from what he was because we don't have it anymore. And I think new pitchers will do that.
All right. I like that take. That's a really good. Hey, you brought the journalism today. You're ready to go back to school.
No, I just think about the Cardinals a lot because they suck and it makes me mad.
Other bright spots so far over the last month. Obviously, Lars has been very, very good. Nolan Gorman has been very, very good. Back to being our guy. Like again, I'm going to say it again I don't know how loud to say it for the people.
You stomped right on Lars right there.
Well, I didn't. We're going to come back to him. I don't know how else to say it, like for the people in the back, but this is what you're going to get with Nolan Gorman. You're going to have a few weeks that you're going to want to bang your head on the wall, but then you're going to have about 4 weeks at a time, 3 or 4 times a season where he is on one of these heaters. And that's what you're going to get. Like, if you don't watch baseball, I've said it before, I'll continue to say it. Go watch the Phillies and watch Kyle Schwarber. Yeah, he walks more than Nolan Gorman, but other than that, they are literally the same dude, except Nolan Gorman, what he can do defensively at 23 years old, like he is on the come up. Like, I'm sorry if I will say it again. If they deal him in the offseason, they're dead to me. I'm an Astros fan.
I'm almost at a spot where the Cardinals have made this spot for themselves where they're in a bad spot pitching wise. Pay for it. You pay. You don't trade the fans' favorite players.
Right.
You don't trade Gorman. You don't trade Newpart. You don't trade Donovan. You keep those guys. That's your core. You did this. You got to pay for it. Go sign 2 pitchers.
Yep.
Go sign them. Don't trade them. Don't trade these guys.
And I don't know about you, but the last time I looked at the number next to the DeWitt's value, it started with a B.
It's going way up. It's going way up.
So let's go ahead and spend some of that.
Village? It's beautiful and packed every day.
Yeah.
Hey, Cardinal games are still drawing 30,000 fans plus in a shitty lost season. Like,
are they?
Yeah. And that's the people that are in the stadium. They're selling 45,000 tickets. All these tickets are already sold, so they already made that money.
Dude, that last weekend series, it looked like
it was at least 30.
No one at the stadium.
Well, think about that. 30 means there's only 3/4 seats full.
Yeah, but I'm talking to friends who were in the stadium that said this thing's not even half full
on the weekend.
In the 7th inning.
That's because they were losing, probably.
I'm just saying you're starting to. Kids are going back to school. People going back to work. Those of the teachers.
You're losing their attention.
It's gonna cut in half, bro. A September series is gonna have 20,000 people.
When football starts, there's not gonna be anyone there.
Did I tell you, or did I do this on? I don't know if I told you, but for those people who always ask, like, what does that mean? Oh, they sold the tickets. They don't care. Wrong. The average person spends $51 once they enter the gate. That's not for ticket. That's not for parking. That's just once they enter the
2 beers.
So if you and I were to go, they're counting on, and this is average, you and I to spend $102. All right. So if you have
probably get close,
40,000 and 20,000 aren't there, I'm not great at math, but 20,000 times 50, that's a lot. That's like $1 million a gate that you're losing. Bill DeWitt knows this, and he has said the one thing he hates is empty seats. Like, he hates it.
That's why he bought the Cardinals too. Like,
so he better. I'm with you. Buck up, because here's the thing: you don't have to destroy this offense to like, you don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Do you know what I mean? Like,
sign Aaron Nola and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I don't care if it's too expensive.
They're not going to get Yamamoto. I wish they would. They're not.
I don't like that you keep saying that, because he's never said anything about wanting to be on the Cubs.
I understand
that's
that.
Just like failed. Like, that's just because he's Japanese that you're saying that.
It is past experiences.
I mean, we got Sangwon Ho.
Future performances.
No one thought Ichiro Suzuki was going to the Mariners either.
No, but not one person thought he was coming to the Midwest.
Pay him more
That's
then.
fine.
Pay him enough to make him come.
Zero argument.
Like I
We're
don't
talking about a
care.
guy who
I'm
wouldn't play
tired of
Fernando
hearing about
Tatis
this.
Jr. or Luis Robert.
I'm tired. Those were prospects though. These are proven guys. Like I'm tired of hearing about. Oh well, the contract was a little ridiculous. I don't care. It's not my money. It's your money,
Agreed.
and you make a lot of it. Go sign those two. Keep Gorman. Keep Donovan. Keep Nootbaar. And then you can also then you have a lot of guys like the O'Neills and Carlsons, so you can evaluate what they're going to be the rest of the year. And if you want to trade one of those for a 4, great. But the top end guys, Logan Gilbert's not becoming available. That guy's been as rock solid can be since we started talking about him. He's been.
They're going to build around him.
That's what they said. Brian Wu might become available, but even if that's the case, I'm not trading Gorman or I'm not trading those guys.
He's also forearms hurt right now.
Right. Well, maybe you can get it for cheaper. But also here's the thing. I don't have any interest in breaking down this offense because that's bullshit that you're gonna have to do that. Spend the money. You have it, spend it. And if the contracts end up looking bad, like maybe don't give a David Price deal. That deal was dumb from the start. But look at these deals that are coming now. Like maybe give one of these guys 4 years at $35 million a year. Maybe that's what you do.
Maybe
that's what you do for Aaron Nola. Pay for years 30 through 34. Maybe instead of paying 30 through 38 and giving him more. Maybe that's what you do, but you have the money. You have Wainwright coming off the books. You have the Young off the books. You have Monty's 10 mil off. You have Jack's 5. I mean, you have the money. Plus, you told the fans last year you were going to up the payroll, and you didn't.
1%.
You did it by semantics.
Yeah.
So make up for it. Go pay the money. Don't trade our players.
I agree 100%.
Now let's get into
back to your guy.
I want to talk to him. Talk about him.
What?
I said, let's go back to Nootbaar.
That's what I just said.
I know. I stepped on you there. Well, I have had
maybe slow down on the coffee.
No, I need it. I was.
How many is this for you today?
2. Okay, what are we going to?
Let's go back to Lars. Lars
okay, cool.
is becoming. Look, here's the
star.
problem. Yeah, but here's what I want to. I want to see a year from Lars. That's what we all need to see. That's what we need from him.
A year and a half.
Not bursts. Not whatever. And I'm saying it's there. We know it's there. We got it next year, bro. You got to do it. Hold on. You got to do whatever you can to stay healthy next year. You have to.
What did you just say about Nolan Gorman?
Yeah. But okay.
Oh,
I don't think that hold on. I'll give Newt. I'll even put him a little bit higher than Gorman because I don't think he's a peaks and valleys guy. I think he's needs to stay healthy on the field guy. That's the difference.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's everybody though. He's had some weird injuries, like running into the wall that created back spasms. Like that's stuff that's just going to happen with outfielders. But my point there was the season-long numbers for Newt. He's now up to an 825 OPS, better than Goldie, by the way, who we'll get to in a second. Gorman's up there. Gorman might be a little bit higher. Does Gorman have an 828? Can you look that up for me real quick?
I got it right now. Yep.
By the way, he's 27% above league average according to OPS. He's 30% above according to WRC plus, which that's number 1 on the Cardinals. That's over Nolan. That's over Goldie. That's over Gorman. So he's the number 1 in WRC plus on the Cardinals. He has the most F WAR, which is what you need to look at. Don't look at B WAR. It's weird. He has 3 F WAR already this year. That's higher than Goldie. It's higher than Nolan. It's higher than other Nolan. So Kit Wilson, when he's on the field, he's been consistently the Cardinals, I think, second best player. I know I just said he's number 1 with all those stats. I still think Arenado's been better than him just from watching the games. I think Arenado's been clearly the best player. But Lars Nootbaar he's been consistent when he's been playing. I do agree that injuries are concerning, but they're kind of like really small, fluky injuries that
they just add up.
Foul the ball off his foot. They do.
They just add up.
None of them have kept him out for long, which is good. He seems to come back quickly. You want your guys on the field always, obviously, but I'm not worried about that yet. I don't think it's a trend yet. So hopefully he gets that in check. But he's been great. Like he's been everything we thought he could be, I think, this year. So
to answer you, Gorman and Nootbaar both at 826, Nolan at 841. Those are your top 3.
Yeah. So it's weird to me that WRC plus is calculated differently because if you walk and there's certain things you can do that are weighted differently in that scale. So Newt has a lower OPS but a higher WRC plus. Once again, that's a stat that I look at and I know what it means because 130, 30% above league average, but I don't really know exactly how they calculate it. So
over the
I
last
probably should
30
know that, but I
days,
don't.
1.043 OPS for Newt,
Mhm.
7 jacks, which is tied with Gorman, and he has 12 RBIs, which puts him fourth on the team. These are the last 30 days over the last month. That's again pretty
I think
good
I also
sample
saw
size.
that since it was either June or July. I don't remember which month, but since the beginning of one of those 2 months, he was third in runs behind Mookie and Acuna in baseball. Which that's a
Yep.
leadoff hitter. Like I don't
Yeah.
runs are as circumstantial, or if not more than as RBIs. But when you're batting leadoff, that's kind of your job, right? To get on and score.
Yep. The other guy that I thought we ought to go ahead and hit on because he has been pretty good the last month. I mean, Alec Burleson has a 952 OPS over
Really
the
good.
last 30 days.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
It's really good. Well, I guess my question is, that's another guy that really doesn't have a pathway to a starting job on this team.
I really like Alec Burleson.
So do I. My question is, do you think instead of dealing do you think Alec Burleson is one of those guys they're going to look to trade in the offseason? Let me just go and get to the question instead
Do,
of
do I think they'll look to trade him? No, but do I think if other teams look to acquire him, I'll think they'll listen. Why wouldn't you? Why
Right.
would you not? But no, I don't think they're going to be saying, "Hey, we need this guy gone. Let's trade him." Like I don't think that's going to happen. Because I think Alec Burleson, I think he's a guy that doesn't need to play every day to be valuable because of his bat to ball skill is elite. He's a very elite at putting the ball in play. That's a great pinch hitter. A great pitch hitter.
Except
you can
he's
bring
been
in against.
terrible in pinch hitting.
I get it, but once pinch hitting is
Like
such a
2 for 40.
I understand, but pinch hitting is, as well as I do. It's one, you get better at it as you do it more. It's a very difficult thing to learn how to do, to be there and have one at bat. And it's normally against a guy throwing 98, but also it's variant. It's very variance. What's the word I'm looking for?
Bro.
It varies. There's the word.
There
It
we go.
varies.
There
There's
we
a lot
go.
of variance in that stat because you can come in 0 for 1 and you hit a missile right at somebody. But I still think he can be a valuable bench bat no matter what we're saying here, pinch hitting wise. He's a guy that I would like to see. He can play first base, which makes him valuable. He can play outfield. He kind of has what Baker doesn't in terms of like at least a little bit of positional flexibility that gives him more value to me. And he's left-handed. I think he has a lot of value on the Cardinals if he's here. But I wouldn't say don't trade him. There's no way you can trade him. I wouldn't say either of those two things.
Okay, let me ask you this because I'd like to get this from you. All right. Looking at the Cardinals' current roster. All right. So we're including, and I'm going to include Brendan Donovan on that. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the guys at AAA or AA or the young guys, who, by the way, we'll talk about in a minute also. But if you're looking to move for a pitcher, and I agree with you, Logan Gilbert's not going anywhere. They're going to build around Castillo and Gilbert and then George Kirby. Those 3 guys, and they get Robbie Ray back next year. So let's not forget that guy just is 2 years removed from a Cy Young.
And they have Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, and they just had another kid make a
Braxton.
It's ridiculous.
Not Braxton.
Something Hancock.
Yeah, Hancock.
Emerson.
Emerson Hancock. Yes. By the way, Bryce Miller 5 innings, 10 Ks the other day. Shutout ball.
He's very good. He's very good.
They're going to probably move one of those guys. I think if you again put the Cardinal hat on, the management hat, who are you looking to move? Like, I hate this because it's all speculation and we love all of these guys, whatever.
I don't like it either.
But you can't have 6
Can I tell you who I'm not moving?
You can't have 5 middle infielders.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to tell us who you're not moving, then you're also telling us who you are moving. Only you're cowarding out by not naming them.
I'll give you the players that I would say are in play, definitely for me. Carlson, O'Neill, Edman, Burleson's in play. Wen's not, Gorman's not, Donovan and Newport aren't. I'm not.
Okay, can I ask you another question then?
Yeah.
Of those guys, can you expect to land a 1 or a 2 from those guys? I don't think you can.
No, pay for it. That's what I said.
Okay.
I don't care.
Right.
I'm not doing it. Pay for it.
Okay. But they're not going to. They're going to trade a Newport or a Gorman, Caleb.
No, they're not. When have they ever done that? When have they ever traded a guy that's broken out? Well, he didn't break out here. Also, a big part of the reason why he broke out was because he said during COVID he ate nothing but chicken and rice and did 5,000 push-ups a day. Was he going to do that here?
What?
Who could see that coming? No one could have seen that coming. And Adolis Garcia is just a freak, but who no one believed in, by the way. Like, that wasn't just
no one. 30 teams didn't.
Which is, credit to him, dude. I love it.
Absolutely.
But what was I saying? I'm not doing it. Like, you can ask me and say maybe the Cardinals aren't doing. I don't care. I'm giving you my opinions of what I would do. I would say, hey, Bill, you created this mess by not letting us go sign good pitchers, by not letting us trade prospects. Because he also, the thing is, no owner knows his prospects better than Bill DeWitt. Okay, sure. What are Randy and Adolis doing? Right, like we just said.
Right.
And Gallen and Alcantara, and well, list goes on and on and on.
Right.
But you did this. You created the mess. Don't make the fans pay for it by giving us now another 2019 offense because you traded everyone away. How about you go pay for it? Go pay for. Here's the thing that they could go get, and this is not going to happen. They could go get Nola, and they could go get
Sonny Gray.
Imanaga, the guy from Japan, who's who's a little older. He's very, very good. He's a lefty. Saris, who I respect a lot, likes him a lot. He's not going to cost a ton, I don't think. You go get those two, and you're still like maybe at where your payroll was to begin this year, not much over it, right? Like at all.
Right.
So you can do that. They can do it. They just need to not go and say, well, we need to save $10 million for Corey Dickerson. And then no, sign the guys you need. I don't need these extras. We got extras on this team. So that's where I'm at with it. I'd be okay with going to trade. If Brian Wu, the cost of him was, let's say maybe Seattle was okay with throwing numbers at the wall, right? So it was, okay, give me Edman, and Carlson, and maybe Burleson. That I'd consider. But if they're saying, okay, we need Donovan, we need Gorman, we need Newbar, and those are the names they're set on, I would understand. I'm saying no, I'm not doing it.
I agree with you. And you could probably also head to Miami to make a trade if you needed to.
Right.
Also,
yes,
there's going to be plenty of options out there that I think you can add. And you look at a guy that or another organization. The Diamondbacks are loaded also at pitching, and they need some offense. So they're
not that loaded at pitching though, really.
in their farm system, I think
Brandon Pfaadt's very good. They're loaded with outfielders.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what you get there. Okay, what was I going to say?
Gorman, you're going to spend any time on him?
Gorman?
I don't know if we have much to say about him. We've kind of said everything. He's great.
He's my favorite player on the Cardinals.
And he also, let's talk about his defense for a second. His offense, we know what he can do. He's streaky. He has a ton of power, and he's really fun. When he's hot, he's as fun to watch as any left-handed Cardinal hitter since Jim Edmonds. We agree on that, probably. Yeah. So his defense has been awesome. Not just respectable. Some numbers aren't as high on him because his lateral movement isn't as quick as guys like Tommy Edman, who plays second base, and Jose Altuve. But his arm makes up for a lot of his lack of speed.
Third base arm.
I think he has one of the better double play turns I've seen from the Cardinals in a long time. Mm-hmm. Colton Wong was great, but I think he's better than Tommy Edman over there at turning double plays. And the play he made the other day, he made a glove flip to Goldie. It was like a perfect internal clock, got him by a step. I think what we're starting to see, that makes me believe that he's getting comfortable over there, and he's starting to get it down. He's starting to get his timing down with his throws. He's not rushing throws anymore, where you might see a ball in the dirt that is that's weird. He's not pulling up on ground balls because he's trying to be too quick. He's got it down now to where I think he's played enough innings finally. It takes time to where he's feeling comfortable with his internal clock and with everything he's doing over there, and it's paying dividends. This is what we talk about when we say give guys time. It's not just about, can he field a ground ball or can he throw the ball to first base? There's a lot of other things like comfortability factor. I think he's finally getting to that spot. And if Gorman can be just an average defender, but I think he's showing signs where he can be above average. He's not going to be a Gold Glover, I don't think, but be above average to some extent and hit 30 homers and play and be a left-handed bat in the middle of your order. That's what we thought Brandon Lau was becoming before he got injured.
We've never had a second baseman in my lifetime. Tommy Herr was great. Vina was great. Delino DeShields was really, really good here. We've had Tony Womack, right? We've had guys who, Matt Carpenter, was not good defensively. He hit at second base.
He also didn't play there very long.
Not very long. Alan Craig, right? Your guy played there.
He played there for 2 games in 2011.
But honestly, we haven't had that guy at second base, that power, and most teams don't. Chase Utley, your Dan Douglas, who only had a few good years. Those guys are anomalies. Right. So
hey, I saw something interesting about Dan Douglas. This is a sidebar real quick. He had the worst defensive inning in All-Star game history. The worst defensive game in All-Star game history. He made 3 errors. The last one cost him the game at second base. I saw the other. He hit a home run in that game too. He hit a home run in that game too. It was the most Dan Ugla game ever.
Are you concerned about Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt?
Nolan Arenado, no, he's been great since
Isn't it what? But his defense
May.
is so it's down.
It's
His
getting
defense
better.
is
It's
not
getting
good.
better. So he had a really good. I thought he had a really good. I think Derek Gould may have written it. A really good piece on him. He talked about this a lot in the offseason where he said he's learning from Goldie to not take as many ground balls. Because he's getting older, he wants to preserve his body, be ready for the games, all that, which makes a lot of sense. He said he took it too far and he wasn't doing enough to keep himself ready. He believes, I guess. And he's trying to find the happy medium because obviously when you're 25, you can take as many as you want. But I think he's trying to find that middle ground of how much to work is what he's basically saying before games to be ready, be fresh, but also, be sharp. And I think in his defensive numbers, I believe since July have been great. They've been back up to where they always are. So I think he's just kind of working through the last stage of his prime. I think he's trying to figure out how to elongate that, and it kind of came
Sure.
at the expense. It kind of came at the expense of his performance in the first half, I think.
No, now Goldie.
I'm not concerned about Goldie as much as I am watching. Like I'm like perked up watching now. His at bats against fastballs have been very, very, very bad. And it was to the point to where Brad Thompson and Chip both mentioned it yesterday and said he's been struggling with hard velocity, like 95 and above, I would say. And then that at bat, some guy for the Rays threw three like 97-mile-per-hour fastballs right by him and he struck out. This is something we've seen happen to Goldie before, where he has struggled with high velocity. It happened his first year as a Cardinal, and he worked through it and became an MVP. So I'm not counting him out, but it is something where there might be a chance where he's not your second best player next year, right? There might be a chance where that's the case. But because I think Gorman and Nootbaar and Donovan and Walker, we haven't even talked about him, and Contreras, I think all those guys are going to have better years next year, or at least comparable years. I think they could pick up his slack to the point to where you're not really worrying about it. The Cardinals are in a very good spot with these young guys to where if Arenado or Goldie or both start to taper off a little bit, they've got guys that should be coming into their prime that can pick up the slack a little bit. So maybe Goldie's your 5-hitter next year instead of your 2-hitter. Maybe that does happen. But I still think he's going to be a good player on the team.
Wait till you see the numbers Luken Baker puts up next year.
I hope he puts up great numbers. I don't have anything against him. I just don't think he's going to be I don't think they're ever going to move on from Goldie for Luken Baker. Because if Goldie's gone, I think Jordan Walker's playing first base.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Goldie's gone. I think they'll extend him.
No.
I think he'll 2 years and then he's going to retire.
I'm hoping
it's a friendly deal. That's what I'm hoping.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you think that Goldie's performance this year to being, now no longer an MVP candidate this year, but kind of just being an above average hitter, like that's kind of where he's at, which is still good, but he's about an average first base hitter this year, I would say, like for what you expect in the first base spot. Do you think that's going to make his contract go down? Like, is it going to be 2 for 30 now?
At in his age, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Like, if you could get him for 2 for 30, and even if that makes him like 15 a year, not 30 a year, even if that he ends up being a 5 or a 6 hitter in the last 2 years of that deal, and you get him in your clubhouse and you get him wearing a Cardinal hat in the Cooperstown, and maybe you get him a championship if you buy some pitching, that's okay with me.
Yeah, and you also have his defense on the field. Like,
and you also, and
win it short. Him. Gorman at second and Nato at third. Like,
also keeping Nolan Arenado happy.
Yeah, his defense over there is going to be.
Let's keep Nolan Arenado happy, please.
Yeah, you need to slow down on the coffee.
No, I'm serious. Keep Nolan Arenado happy because if he leaves here, could you imagine if he asked out the same year the goalie's about to become a free agent? What that would do for their bottom line? They better go buy some pitching.
Anything else you want to hit on with the Cardinals?
I feel like there was something, but that we talked about earlier. That
young kids that they added. So JC hit another bomb last night.
He's been very good. He's impressive.
Prieto gets 2 hits. Our Luis Ariz gets 2 hits every night, and he hit a bomb.
That poor kid.
You want to talk a little bit about our guy Braden Jobert hit his first big league home run. That was awesome to see. Very happy. Chase Davis, he's hitting. What do you want to say?
Has he been good?
Drew Rom. You want to owe him an apology too? After he said, I don't know how
say about him.
91 gets people out.
No, I said I don't understand him because I still don't. He throws 91 from a weird arm angle.
Great last night.
He strikes a lot of guys out, and he was giving up a lot of runs at Baltimore. Wasn't being rude to him. I just didn't genuinely. I read his scouting report. I didn't understand what I was reading. It was very weird. But I did watch some of his start yesterday, mostly because Kyle Reese and those guys gif a lot of it, and I'm able to watch it. He looks really good. Like he looked really good yesterday. 5 innings, 10 strikeouts. Like the fact that no matter what Drew Rom does, the fact that you got a guy, how many 5 inning, 10 strikeout performances have we seen from Cardinal minor leaguers this year? Not named Tink Hintz.
That might be the only one.
Like, I mean, Graceffo can do that. Guys can do that. But just to add that Jack Flaherty trade looks really good.
Yeah.
Like Prieto is a guy that's going to be, he'll make a big league debut next year for some team, probably for the Cardinals if he's still here. Rom will make a big league debut. He could make one this year, honestly. Like he could get a start in September. That wouldn't surprise me. He's been in AAA all year. And that Showalter kid had his first appearance out of the bullpen because I think they're trying to limit his innings a little bit because he's so young. I think he struck out 2 in 1 inning of work. So far that trade's looking pretty good, but good for Rom. I hope he's great.
John Keane threw an inning last night up here for us.
He's been good since he's come over. I don't think he's given up a run yet.
Yep.
Good. We need innings.
Yep. So yeah, it's just, again, you have this massive amount of people. We'll say it again. You got to make the right fucking choices. You got to make the right choices. You can't screw this up because if you screw it up, you're putting the team back another 5 years and you can't do that. You just cannot do that. And also here's the thing. There's also I think the hardest thing to do. And if you look around Major League Baseball, I've talked about this before and you and I've talked about it. It's hard to go sign free agent starting pitchers and for them to be impactful for your team. It doesn't happen often. Well, very rarely. Actually,
you mean impactful like at the start of the contract or by the end?
The start of the contract. Like,
look at Rodon.
Huh?
Look at Rodon right now. He's hurt again.
Outside of Nathan Eovaldi, like look through. I mean, DeGrom, he's done.
John Gray was a great signing.
Yeah, but that was
Verlander, right?
Like Verlander. I mean,
he's gonna be impactful for the Astros.
He's not even on the Mets now.
Yeah, but that's because of the Mets. That's not because of Verlander.
What I will say,
I get what you're saying, but also Verlander is one of the best ever. So
it's not an easy thing or an easy transition to just sign a guy and hope he comes in and becomes as good as he was from where you're getting him from.
Yes. I mean, I think I can give you 2 examples of contracts, long-term pitcher contracts that legitimately were wins for the team so far. Garrett Cole, he's been amazing since he got signed.
That was
he's
a trade.
Getting better.
That was a trade.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, no, you're right. They signed. I forgot. You're right. Yeah.
I was about to say, what am I?
I was thinking when he was on
the Astros traded for him.
Yeah.
And Max Scherzer, who had when the Nationals deal was one of the best contracts ever signed, in my opinion. So it is rare. You got to pick the right guy. I really like Aaron Nola for this, and I know we don't want to get into this maybe right now. We have a lot of time in the offseason to talk about this. I like him because I love his pitches. I love his mentality. LSU guy, by the way. I like a lot of things about him outside of just the fact that he's been a stud for 8 years now. So that's a guy I would really like for them to go after. But that is true. You're signing, like my thing about don't trade your guys, go sign pitching. It can most definitely backfire.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it can backfire in a way that trading Nolan Gorman for a guy that gets injured and never pitches for you can.
Agreed 100% with that. Anyway, let's take a look around just really quickly before we get out of here. A few things that happened. Tim Anderson. Have you ever seen a guy who is falling, hits man like this, open, like slap punch on the button, and that dude looked like he'd been shot? Tim Anderson looked like he'd been shot.
I don't want to. Tim Anderson's been getting a lot of hate. I don't really want to pile onto that because it kind of sucks.
Not what I asked.
But no, I haven't seen that. That was a Jose Bautista Rougned Odor fight, but it wasn't as cool. It was more sad. Like the Rougned Odor Bautista fight was cool. It was 2 guys legitimately squaring up. One guy got the punch off, and he knocked his glasses off his face. That was kind of cool. This fight was more like, ugh, like why did it have to be Tim Anderson? Like, why did it have to be the cool guy of baseball that got punched?
But I don't know he's the cool guy anymore. Like after that, I don't know if that's a thing. But I love the umpire. It was like hockey. He just stepped back. I'm not getting in the middle of
it.
No, you handle it.
You guys want it, you guys get it.
That's it. And then our guy Bryce, obviously helps a kid who can't find his brothers. So he sits with him until he can get back to his brother. Then he takes a selfie with all of them. That man does everything. He's a superhero. He's also, by the way, if you're not paying attention, the Phillies are playing pretty doggone good baseball right now.
I was gonna say, by the way, and he's getting red hot. Like
he also went yard that night, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he's hitting homers again. Like he was hitting everything but homers. He's hitting homers again. I mean, Bryce Harper is not only one of the best players of our generation, but I mean, he walked so people could run in terms of celebrations and growing the game of baseball. And now he's always been this guy. But everyone saw the clown question, bro, and Jonathan Papelbon situation and hated him for some reason. But I'm glad his image has completely changed. Like I don't see anyone say anything bad about him anymore. And I'm glad that's gone away because the whole time that it was happening, I didn't get it.
It wasn't real. That's what DeRosa has said many times. DeRosa was on that Nationals team when Harper came up. He said literally the day he walked into the clubhouse, everyone loved him. And the funny thing was people chose to believe a guy who literally everyone hated in baseball. In Jonathan,
let's not throw that out there. He has some,
but it's true baseball. That like a lot of people.
Okay, let's just. Jonathan Papelbon had issues with people in the clubhouse. Not everybody hated him.
Okay, that's fair.
He's loved it. He was loved in Boston when he was there.
Either way. Okay, let's look at the American League real quick, and I want to just get a couple predictions. Who right now? Who would you have in, and who do you think falls out of that wild card race? Obviously, right now you've got the Orioles and the Rays going back and forth. The Orioles have what a 2-game lead.
You want me to answer it?
Yeah. I was just going to go through for our audience like where it stands. You're only getting one team out of the AL Central. All right, and then what do you think in the West? Because by the way, the Mariners are 9-1 in their last 10.
So here's what I think happens. I think I think Houston wins the division. I think they're gonna. I think they're playing Houston Astros baseball again, which is what they need to do the whole time. I think you get the Guardians I think the Twins win the Central because
they're almost 5 games up. The Guardians have been garbage.
Yeah, someone has to win the Central, so I pick them. And I think the Orioles win the East. Now, I think the Rays make it as a wild card spot. I think the Rangers make it as a wild card spot. And I think then that puts me between the Mariners and the Blue Jays. Actually, how much are the Rays up on the other teams?
The Rays have a 4-game lead right now in the wild card.
Above who?
Right now it's Houston.
Houston's not in the wild card spot?
No, they are. I'm sorry. I thought you mean against but the team that
how high above are they from the next team that's not in the playoffs?
Right now, here's what you have. You've got right now, if we're to start, Tampa Bay, Houston, and Toronto are in. Seattle is 2 games behind Toronto, but they're 6 behind Tampa Bay. Does that make sense?
Okay. I think Seattle makes it and Toronto doesn't.
You think because of their team?
I think because I think Julio's gonna get hot. I think Ty France is gonna get better. I also still believe that Kyle Raleigh can be better than he's been. I think a lot of their offense, like Teoscar, Eugenio Suarez, a lot of them I think are going to be better than they've been because I think they are better than they've been. But I wanted to, if the Rays didn't get off to the start that they got off to, I would say they're not making it.
Yeah.
But they built themselves such a cushion that it's hard for me to see like the Mariners playing 6 games better than them the rest of the year.
And Boston and the Yankees have been like under 500 over their last 10 games. Like neither one of those teams want to do anything, it feels like. So
I think the Yankees are just bad. And I've been saying that for 2 years. I think they're just bad.
What is up with the Mariners trading their best reliever every year and then getting better?
They're a reliever factory.
It's unreal.
Well, I also don't think they traded their best reliever. I think they traded their closer.
That's fair.
I think Andres Munoz was their best reliever before that trade. All
right, now let's go through the NL. Looks like Atlanta's going to win the East. All right.
It looks like it.
Right. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the Dodgers are going to win the West. All right.
Yep.
Who do you think wins the Central? Because right now you've got Milwaukee 2.5 games up on the Cubs. The Cubs playing good baseball again.
Really good baseball.
The Reds 2-8 in their last 10. The pitching is caught up.
Dead.
No doubt about it. I feel like they're done for the year.
They need Hunter Green and Lodolo back. They're going to be dangerous next year, by the way. I think they're going to be better next year.
Right now, who do you think wins the Central?
The Cubs.
Okay, really?
I like their mojo. I like that they kept Bellinger and Stroman. I think that's a good way to rally the guys in the clubhouse. And I think they like the Padres, who I'm sure we'll at least speak about a little bit in a second, did the same thing with Snell and Hader. It doesn't seem to be working. I don't know what's going on in that clubhouse, but I think Bellinger and who just won Player of the Month, by the way, and Stroman being back in that clubhouse, I think it rejuvenated them the way it should rejuvenate your team when you don't sell off. And I also think they have a pretty good team. They're better than I thought they would be.
They are better than we thought they were. Now, let me ask you this. Do you see a scenario to where two teams from the NL Central, which, by the way, most people think is unheard of, make the playoffs? I mean, I think that right now the Brewers, if the Cubs overtake you've got right now Philly and San Francisco in the wild card. Like they're kind of established themselves right now at the top. Miami has been bad, 3-7 in their last 10. They're trying to fall out of it. I mean, I think there's a world where both the Brewers and the Cubs, because Arizona has been they're 1-9 in their last 10. They haven't been good.
They've been awful.
There's
and
a
they play the
world where
Padres this weekend.
there's a world where two of those teams make it. Arizona, like they said, and Cincinnati's not far behind either. That's going to be an interesting race, man. That's a lot to watch.
Okay, is there a world? Yes, but I'm going to say that one of Miami, San Diego, even though I really don't believe in them, honestly, I don't. And Arizona, I'm gonna say there's a world. I think one of those three gets hot and gets in.
Okay.
But I could see the Brewers and Cubs both getting in. I just don't know if I believe in both of them to be good. I think one of them will be good the rest of the year. I don't know which team it's going to be in the East and the West, but I think one of them will get hot, and I don't know which one.
Brewers getting Brandon Woodruff back was huge.
I just think their offense is so bad. I don't like it.
It's rough. There's no doubt about it.
They're rough. They have him too, don't they?
It's
They
very
do.
I look outside of the Cardinals, which no one seems to be watching right now. There's a lot to watch. Memphis Redbirds, they're fun to watch. Springfield Cardinals are fun to watch. Victor Scott's my new favorite player in the Cardinals organization. Thanks to Kareem and thanks to everything I've been watching.
Wow, Lucan Baker shots.
Huh?
Shots at Lucan.
Well, you've already told me that he won't be a Cardinal in the future anyway. Victor Scott could be.
I hope so. He should be.
Lucan Baker, Victor Scott, and Mason Wynn are my three favorite Cardinals right now. And Braden Jobert.
Okay. Yeah, you stop being stupid. Let's get out of here.
All right. I don't even know who the Cardinals play this weekend. I don't even know who they play. That's terrible. Idea. That's bad podcasting.
Hold on. I haven't been looking ahead just because. Who cares? Kansas City. I did know that.
Oh Jesus.
Bueno's going for wedding 199.
Oh Jesus.
What happens against Kansas City and in Kansas City?
Over under runs Bueno gives up against Kansas City. I'm setting it at 4.5.
Over, and he gets a win because the Cardinals score 10 runs off whatever trash Kansas City pitchers out there.
Okay. Shot at Zach Greinke and Brady Singer. Got it.
I do like Zach. No, not Zach Greinke. He can be. Brady Singer's not good. Zach Greinke, though, is really good.
Yeah. So listen, hey, thank you all for joining us. As always, if you'd hit that subscribe button, tell a friend, we'd greatly appreciate you. A lot of stuff to pay attention to. It's not our normal August as a Cardinal fan, but there is still a lot of optimism in Cardinal Nation, and there's a lot moving forward. So we will talk to you soon. We'll be back in your ear. Go Cards.